So I had tried lots of different sports, boxing, CrossFit, running, and had been a gym bunny for a long time. And I was looking for something new and something that would truly test me, because although all those sports before were difficult, and the boxing in particular really did test me, to a certain extent they were all within my comfort zone because they were things that I thought I could get better at and that I was more naturally drawn to. Triathlon, I just always thought, no, it's not for me, it's not for me. And I think I got to a point where I began to question that as more and more women that I knew were becoming involved in triathlon. I watched the Olympics, I saw Helen Jenkins come through in 5th place, I knew about her battle against injury to get there. I was greatly inspired, and I wondered, how hard can it be? And what am I so afraid of? And when you get that little monkey in the head, it just doesn't really go away. So what can I learn about myself from trying to do something that I thought I'd never do?
This is going to be lush. I've got to try and remember how privileged I am to be able to swim in a lake like this.
I got some lessons. I think that's really important. If you don't improve your freestyle technique, you ain't going nowhere. And by the time I'd had a few lessons, I really learnt to glide through the water and not fight it so much. So there was that, and also just forcing myself to go to the pool once a week, minimum. And then open water practice, getting that wetsuit on and getting into open water. And the biggest surprise for me was just how unbelievably pleasurable I found moving through the open water. I think triathlon gave me an opportunity to get to know myself in that, to get to know how little I knew myself. You think you know yourself, but you don't. I think it's useful occasionally to push those limits and to find out, as one of the triathletes in my book says, she wanted to keep knocking on the door and find out who was on the other side. And I love that, but I do think we need to be careful as well not to spend our whole life knocking on the door and then miss the rest of our life on this side of the door. I think triathlon is unique in that it offers a more meritocratic environment in which women can compete. The prize money at a high level is usually the same for men and women. Men and women race the same distances. It's very different from a sport like tennis in that instance, where we have the 3 and 5 set divide in Grand Slams. So I think triathlon is something that women are drawn to, and there's a huge sense of community as well. The doing of the triathlons was my favourite part. And that was the biggest surprise. I thought I loved training and I couldn't be really bothered to do the events. And actually, as with so many things in triathlon, the opposite was true. The events were when I felt really alive, I felt really invested, and I felt really present, actually. I was in more of a state of flow, and the training felt a little bit more like drudgery. Sometimes, getting on with it. So I think it's good to remember that it will be worth it on the day.
That was pretty amazing.
Impressions of the course?
It's brutal. But it was amazing. And the course is flat, it's fast, it's quite well organised, there's a lot of people around, but it felt like a fast swim too. It was really couldn't breathe, but what the hell.